welcome back to the Statuesque Events YouTube channel. I'm so excited to have you here, and today I want to talk about what the recent election means for your wedding. Alright, so before I hop into that, let me introduce myself. My name is Faye Shola, and I'm the owner of Statuesque Events. We're a wedding planning and design company based in the DC metro area, but we service weddings all along the East Coast and beyond. We love working on multicultural and luxury weddings, and on this channel, we give you tips and inspiration to help you plan your wedding. Now, like I said, we're talking about the recent election, and as we all know by now, Joe Biden won the United States election. Now, regardless of how you feel about it, there are some things to consider about the fact that we have a new president, right, in the middle of a pandemic, which has affected everyone's weddings, right? There have been changes to every single wedding that was supposed to take place in 2020 and those that are planned for 2021 because of coronavirus. So in this video, I want to talk a little bit about what this change in administration means for your day as you continue planning. So the first thing is that, the Biden campaign has been very vocal about how they don't agree with a lot of the Trump administration's policies around coronavirus, around how the COVID was handled under the Trump campaign. And they definitely seem to be pushing more for more strict rules around gatherings, around everything, travel, everything having to do with COVID. So what that could mean for your wedding is possibly that you may want to gear up for having a smaller wedding, right? I know that some people have already made the decision to have an intimate wedding in 2021 or even in 2022 because of the virus, but some may still be holding on to the idea of a bigger wedding. And it's really important at this point to recognize that it's really important to make a backup plan for a smaller wedding in the event that you cannot have events over a certain number, right? A number that was in place pretty much across the board earlier on in the pandemic was 50. Many states were not allowing events over 50 guests. And so it's really good to make a plan for what happens if for some reason the guidance changes in your state and you cannot have an event over 50. If you can now, right? What happens if the guidance is that you can't have an event over 100? What will you do? Will you choose to reschedule? Will you choose to just have a smaller event and then have a bigger event later when it's safer? All of this is stuff that you definitely want to consider and really make a real plan around right now, because of course the Biden administration is coming in on the heels of Trump and they did not agree with a lot of the policies, so they are going to be doing things differently. And it's important to just be prepared so that when those changes come, you're not disappointed, you're not knocked off of your bearing, and you have a plan to move forward with. And this is something that you definitely want to discuss with your wedding planner. What are we going to do, right, if we can only have this many number of guests? This is something I've been talking with my clients. What are we going to do if we cannot have more than this number of guests? And that's something that you definitely want to start preparing for now. Along the same lines of, stricter COVID restrictions and things like that that you want to keep in mind is that there may be stricter restrictions around airports and travel and things like that. I don't think this is going to affect domestic travel. Domestic travel has been happening for some time now and hasn't been completely shut down. However, I do think it's important to keep in mind if you are importing a dress, a lot of people use dress designers that are not based in the US, or if you are importing maybe cultural attire that is not made in the US. So you want to make plans to get that to you as soon as possible so that you have it in your hands just in case of any changes later, right? There may be some changes to the way that customs is handled, and if things are held by customs, how you get it out and all of that. So these are all things that you definitely want to consider, look into, and just plan to get whatever it is you need from out of the States for your wedding, whether it's attire or anything else, as soon as you can. And another thing that I think is important to consider is that a lot of government-owned buildings are not open during this pandemic right now, and they may continue to stay closed under a Biden administration because again, they're looking for more strict ways to contain the virus and everything. So if you are looking for like a county-owned mansion or other kind of venue for your event, this is a good time to start making alternate plans. Like, what if it doesn't reopen? Make alternate plans for, maybe having a wedding at home, at a backyard, in a park, something like that, or renting more of a private venue for your event so that you can still hold it. So all of this to say, there are some things to consider as far as having more strict guidance around COVID for your wedding. Nothing to be afraid of though. Information is power, so you can use all of this information to really make decisions. What will I do if any of these things happen? What will I do, right, in any of these scenarios? So I really hope that this video has been helpful to help you to decide, like, what does this mean for your wedding? What impacts does an administration change at this point have on your wedding? And do make sure that you subscribe, because as usual, we have videos every single month. We have a couple videos every month to inspire you and to keep you informed on the wedding planning journey, all right? So we have more to come on this topic, and we cannot wait to talk with you more soon. But once again, we woke up this morning to Joe Biden being our president, and of course, there's a lot to come with that. You may be excited, you may not be. I, for one, am excited, and I'm really looking forward to what the year ahead has for us, all right? So thanks so much for subscribing, thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.